Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raising Remarkable Teenagers episodes. This is going to be a video and a podcast, and I'm so excited. And as you can see, those of us who are watching on video, we've got Vicky Musni today, and Vicky's gonna be speaking to us about a couple of things about raising young people, raising teenagers. She's got some of her own. Vicky is a personality trainer and we are just looking forward to hearing. Well, Vicky said, I've made some mistakes, but I've also done some things right. Isn't that all what we all do? So we want to hear some of those, and also we want to hear some of the snippets, especially on the things that you think you cracked. We want to hear how you did it. How did you smash it? What did you do well? So, everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited that you're here. And again, as you know, we scour around the world to just find you some interesting and life giving information so that we can help you, help ourselves, really, help everyone that's listening and share the information because we all want to raise highly effective teenagers, which is the goal of everything that we do here at Raising Remarkable Teenagers and everyone that we associate with. So, welcome, 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 Vicky.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're right there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, brilliant. I think we froze a little bit there, but it's all good. It's all good. So, how old are your kids, Vicky?
My oldest two will be turning 20 and 21 in February.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have younger ones that are 14 and 15.
Oh,
so
yes.
technically I've got one out of the teenage stage and another one about to turn 20, and then two more that are still in school.
Oh, brilliant! And it's interesting when I speak to parents of teenagers, and in fact, when we talk about teenagers and young people, we talk about ages from about 11 to 25. That's the development stage of teenager of puberty because it's not just 18 and then that's it. We are finding that the teenage brain continues to develop in that
Absolutely.
until they're 25. So we're still good. So tell us some interesting stuff there. Oh, actually, as I said earlier, Vicky is a personality trainer. Maybe Vicky, you want to tell us a little bit about that before we jump into
Sure.
grabbing some of your strategies.
Yeah. Well, I've always been interested in personalities. My husband and I took several personality assessments, like even before we were married and early in our relationship. We've been married, it'll be almost 25 years next summer. And I always was interested, but about 2008,
Yeah.
I went and took the same people that wrote the Wired That Way personality test. And so while I was taking that course for speakers that was focused on finding your own personality and not trying to become someone you're not on stage, and also understanding when you speak to an audience, you have different personality types who are listening to you.
Yeah.
So what can you do to engage all of those different people? It rekindled my awareness and my interest in personality. So I went through their next program to get certified. And I've been teaching primarily business professionals, sales people, things like that, but also some work with teens and schools, leadership classes, things like that. But I think the idea that we are all different, and especially any parent who's listening that has more than one child, you realize they can have the same two parents, they can sleep in the same bedroom, they can wear the same clothes, for goodness sake, and it does not make them the same child. They are born with certain personality things that you don't have any control over. I mean, you can control how you respond,
Yeah.
but there's some things that they just come into this world wired a certain way And that's who you get to parent. And they may be different from the other child that you get to parent. Or if you were like me and you have four, they might all four be different personalities. So,
And
so it's been
something,
interesting.
yeah, and something interesting as well is that you also taught in high school, or what we call secondary school here. So quite a lot of experience there with young people. Yeah. So we are in good
Yeah,
hands.
I started teaching public school when I was actually really young. I was only 20 years old, but I
Oh,
finished university early and I was really young when I taught, but I also continued to work with teenagers for the next 10 or 15 years, honestly, until I had my fourth kid. Then I started to not have as much time to volunteer. But I mentored college students, I mentored teenage mothers for about 5 years and did a lot of different things in different capacities. Again, not because I have raised perfect kids, but I had pretty good examples growing up, which I'm grateful for. And I feel like kids need someone, they need to have parents who are interested, but they also need someone who's not a parent sometimes. And so I've tried to be that person as much as I can.
oh, nice, nice. That's really interesting. So, in terms of in terms, I mean, we know we don't tend to go on hard and fast rules here because we know every young person, every teenager is different. But if you could say, what would you regard as raising the kid right, right? What would you what kind of strategies would you advise us to implement? Of course, in my position as a psychologist, as an educator, I have my own view, but today it's not about me and what I know. And I mean, of course, I'm going to throw research in there because my audience know I love to throw in the research in there, just so that they know we're not just talking fluff. It's not fluff here. It's practical tips. We talk about a lot of research, but we also talk about a lot of practical wisdom because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it is what works for your young person. So, what kind of practical tips would you say to would you give in terms of raising healthy and highly effective teenagers? What would you give?
I've got two things that came to mind right away. The
Yes.
first one is that it's not fair is a motto that I live by.
Okay.
It's not okay, and I don't think it's healthy or right to treat, if you have more than one child, to quote, treat them all the same. And I
Mm.
know that's very countercultural, and people are like, well, how dare you? You know, you're advocating playing favorites. And I said, no, if one of my kids needed glasses, I am not going to tell the other three, you have to get glasses too, because that's fair, that all four of you get treated exactly the same.
Yes.
And when I use that example, it sounds ludicrous, but there are times when one child, because of their personality, because of something emotional that they're going through, because of a unique situation or need, they might need something good. If you have more than one child, you need to look at them as individuals and figure out what that child needs. I'm not talking about loving any one of them more than the other or liking them better, but every now and then I would intentionally tell my kids, I'm taking Max to get frozen yogurt. The rest of you guys can stay home. Bye. We got to go. And I would leave with one of them. And yeah, the next time I might do that with a different kid.
Yes.
Or if whatever they need. Like I have one daughter and three boys. There are times when she just would need something different than the boys. And that needs to be okay, and that needs to be normal. So that was one thing that came to my mind, is treat each child differently based on what that individual child needs.
Oh, brilliant. So what I'm
So
hearing
that's
from
that's one of them.
so what I hear, especially for, I mean, I've only got one teenager at the moment, but I also know that most of her friends actually, they think I'm their mom, and I think I'm their mom. and I treat them all differently when they are here. So, but what I'm hearing you say is for those of us who have multiple kids, it's very important to identify the differences and treat them uh, as a treat the person accordingly, right? And to their own difference, right? Like you said,
Exactly.
if for example the girl, you can't say that you're going to buy them the whole lot, for example a hat or whatever your boys like, and because you want to be fair, there
Yeah,
is we need in our fairness, something I say, in our fairness we may be foolish, right? And that's not what we want as parents. We need to be able
exactly.
to actually explore and identify the actual needs in line with their diversity, because like you said, we are all different. Even kids from, it was interesting when you said they may sleep in the same bed, they may sleep in the, you know all those things, but there is something, because we all are genetically different. We are different, and that's the beauty of nature. Yeah, that's the beauty of nature. So that's something extremely interesting that you mentioned there. Right, so carry on.
Well, and it's not just with the physical, it's oh, sorry. It's I think there's a little things like not buying them, the hat or the glasses, but sometimes it's what do they need emotionally or with their time. You
Mm,
might have one child that is really happy playing independently or having more alone time, and another one that really needs more interaction with you, or
yeah.
they really love to talk about their feelings and their day and they have to like get that out into the world, and so you might need to listen more to that child. And another one, yeah, you try and you ask the open-ended questions and you see what you can get them to share. But sometimes if they really just need space,
Yeah.
the most loving thing you can do is to let them have extra quiet time. And so
Abs-
you've got to figure out what do they really need and what's reasonable. And when do you push harder? Well, this is what the family has decided. And when do you say, okay, this is okay for you? And that is going to be a lot harder to determine.
Oh, interesting.
The other thing,
Yeah, go
oh,
on.
well, I just want to say the other thing that when you first asked that question that came to my mind, and this is unfortunate if you're watching the show and your kids are already teenagers, is I think so much of what makes for remarkable teenagers starts really early. So if you
Mm,
also have young kids, some of this I think is really important, but I made a really conscious decision when my kids were babies
mm,
that as soon as they could talk, I did not want to speak for them. As soon as they had their own words, I wanted to teach them that they needed to use them. And a simple example, whenever we would go out to eat, and I didn't care if it was fast food like McDonald's
yeah.
or a regular restaurant where a waitress came to the table, the kids would look at the kids menu and they would point at something and say, I want the chicken or I want the spaghetti. And I would say, oh, I don't work here. You'll have to tell the person who works here. And I would make them say, may I please have a hamburger?
Yes.
Or may I please have the spaghetti? And I said, I don't work here. You can't just tell me what you want. You can't just point and expect me to order for you. And so from, 2 years old, I made them do that. And
Yeah.
some of my kids are more confident speakers naturally than others. I have a couple that are more introverted and shy and quiet. My 20-year-old still does not like to answer the phone. That's just part of who he is. But when he has to, he can.
That's
And so I think that like that idea of I want to raise independent kids
that's
who
right.
grow up to be independent, productive members of society that
Mm,
are not the college kids that are calling their parents and saying, can you talk to my professor because I don't like, my grade, or I don't understand my assignment.
yeah.
I was never going to raise kids like that. I want my kids to be able to speak up for themselves.
That's
And
right.
so I think if you haven't done that from early on, you can start, but it's going to not be an instant thing.
Yeah, of course. It's if you haven't done it from when they were younger, it can be an uphill because it's a new skill they have to learn. And what I would normally encourage parents is, just because you didn't do it before doesn't mean you can't start today. You can start anything today. We can start anything today, and all you need is to believe that it can happen, because over here we all believe we have a growth mindset. That's one thing we keep talking. We need to be open-minded. Let's take up new ideas. Let's believe that the brain is elastic, right? And we can develop new neuropaths. It's something some of the parents actually said to me that they didn't know about that. They thought that by the time the kid is about 10, that's it. That's no. And I'm like, no, research is showing us the our brain is elastic. We can grow new brain cells, and it's just training them. And how a neuropath, which is how the brain develops those new habits, is just by starting to do it today. And as you do it more and more and more, that becomes a dominant, it becomes the dominant neural path. And that's how habits are formed. So we can't give up just because we didn't do it before. So I like when you talk about the confidence, because I think it's very important that our young people have that confidence to speak up for themselves, because you and I know that we only spend, especially when they come to teenage years, we spend very little time with them, very
Mhm.
little time with them, because especially now when they have a lot of peer influence, they've got a lot of gadgets to go on to, and I think it's important to make the moments, but I would like you to talk about this, making the moments we spend with them count, making those moments, because I tell parents that the kids some of them stay in their room forever, right? And they don't want you to ask them to calm down. Some of them don't even eat. But how can we make those moments, those moments of connections, be of quality? How can we do that?
The conversation, I think, is key. And again, if it's not a habit that you started early on, I encourage you to start. And you may not be able to just cold turkey. My family, we eat dinner at the dinner table together every night.
Yeah.
And everybody is home and we all gather and we sit together. But if you've never done that, and all of a sudden you say, okay, this is the way it's going to be from now on forever, you might get met with some resistance. But just start with, hey, tonight I'm going to make a special dinner. Can you please be in the kitchen at 6:00? And then maybe if it's new to your family, go out of the way. What would you like me to make? Is there a favorite, side dish I could make for you?
Yes.
And if they see that you're really going out of your way, maybe they'll be more inclined to go out of their way. And the other thing is, you've got to talk about what they want to talk about.
Yes.
And I struggle, like the whole video game thing is so not my world.
Yeah.
But I have 3 boys that are gamers. And so I try, and sometimes they'll say, Mom, is this going over your head? Do you even understand what I'm telling you? And I say, yeah, I'm getting most of it, but tell me that middle part again. Okay, so who's the new character in the game that you were so excited about?
Yeah.
And I try. Now, I have some friends who go the extra mile and have like really learned to play the games with the kids. And I can think of one friend in particular who is a single parent dad, and on the weeks he doesn't have his children, he told me that he actually goes and watches YouTube videos and like practices playing the games so that he can keep up with the kids. And I know it might sound silly, but he's raising 3 teenagers and he's alone when he's got them, and so he's really trying. Like, he gets on TikTok and he watches the videos with them. And I just think that is so awesome. So yeah, figure out what they're interested in. And then if you set that tone, hopefully they'll learn to reciprocate and be like, so what happened in your day? How was your job today? But we've got to model that. We can't expect them to know how to do that if we haven't been modeling for that early on. So if it's a new thing, you got to start with what you've got. If you've been doing it for a while, you can expect a little bit more.
Yeah.
But conversation is key. And I think these days it means things like putting the phone down, putting it away, turning it off. Like I've got mine on, do not disturb right now, so it wouldn't go off.
Yeah.
But I try to do that when we're at meals together.
Mm.
Or if my kids actually want to have a conversation, I'll leave my phone on my desk and walk down the hall and sit in their room so that I'm not distracted. I don't want to lose those moments.
Yeah.
And I remember with my daughter being so frustrated that she didn't want to get her license right away, and she kept putting off taking the required classes. And I don't know what the driving rules are like where everybody lives, but here the parent has to log 50 hours of drive time with the student driving while the parent is in the car. Whoa. And all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, that's 50 hours of just me and her that we have to do. And if I'm driving her, I'm riding, she's driving to and from school or to and from work. That's time when she gets a little bit confident, and I'm not stressing about her rolling through a stop sign or hitting someone. Yeah. But when she's got the hang of it, I can ask her questions and we can have conversation. And so it's whatever the situation is, it's making the most of it, creating it yourself, or taking advantage of what the life gives you.
Wow, I like that. I like that about one of the things I encourage parents to do is to have those drive chats, because especially because if you notice when you're driving and your kid is sitting on the side, because we call it parallel linear. They can tell you things they'll probably not tell you like if they were facing you face to face. So
I didn't know that term. Yeah.
And
I didn't know that particular term. Say that again. Parallel what?
It's a parallel linear, right?
Parallel. So I just called it windshield time. But
it's because you're sitting, both of you are facing the same direction. So and the advantage of this is they don't feel threatened, because because sometimes we insist on young people looking at us when we are speaking.
Yes.
But
go ahead, tell me about your day. How are you doing? How was school? Tell me more.
Yeah, so that can feel very threatening. And on top of that, let's always remember, because teenagers, we know that they're at this age, they're not very good at reading emotions. So they tend to translate many emotions and confuse it with anger. That's why sometimes you'll ask your teenager, oh, how was school today? Oh, how was your homework today? And then they'll jump, they'll jump because they quickly translate everything like it's your, and fair on them, because if someone was attacking you, you'd want to defend yourself. But the truth is, we are actually not attacking them. We are asking them. So in that case, that's why that parallel linear is a very safe. It's in fact, if you can do it often, or when you're having a walk, go for walks together. So from that, you can get so much information, so much, and be just listening in. And the other thing you said was that of decide when you've decided to change the culture. For example, you said you eat dinner at home and you make, if we've decided that, we need to be ready to go out of our way to please for some time, because we are developing a new habit. And when they see that, they feel valued, because at the end of it, all our kids want to do is to feel valued, right? So when you ask them, oh, what would you like me to prepare today? We've decided, because you're the one that's decided, you didn't ask them if they want that. So they want, for them to feel part of it, they need to do some sort of contribution. So
Mhm.
asking them what they would like for dinner, what special thing they would like for dinner or whatever, that is part of contribution and it makes them feel valued.
Well, and hopefully that will work into what can you make to contribute to the dinner?
Uh-huh.
What would you like to prepare?
Yes.
And then eventually they should have the skills that which night of the week are you going to be making dinner for the family?
Absolutely.
You know, like we can't just a certain age that they know how to move out of the house and be an adult.
That's right. That's right. It starts
Oh.
from small, small skills. We build on it, and it's praising them along the way. It's unlikely they're going to get it right in the beginning. They won't get it right the first day you say that you ask them to cook or anything, but eventually, like all
No,
of
and I
us.
wasn't, but it's also teaching them the way they want to be taught. So my family, another example, they love Taco Tuesday. That is a thing for here. We eat some kind of tacos every single Tuesday, and it is like it's a big deal to
Yeah,
my kids.
yeah.
And my husband used to make the guac. He used to make fresh guacamole, and he started working later and later. And I said, you know what? I need to figure out how to do this. I'm
Yes.
not as good of a cook as he is, but I'm going to learn. And I went onto YouTube and I watched a video, and because that's what my kids do. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I learned how to make it. And lo and behold, my youngest said, well, I think I could do that. And
Yeah.
now for the last like 3 years, he makes the fresh guacamole every Tuesday. And he'll remind us
Wow.
on Monday, hey, did you get more avocados? Do we have it? And he's 14 now, and like that's his main thing. And then there are other times when he'll say, like, they're actually making bagels this morning. They made the
Oh,
dough last night and they let it rise. And while you and I are recording, when I came up here to my office area to record, they were downstairs in the kitchen making homemade bagels together.
wow.
And, you know, I'm just excited. Like, it's not something I was particularly interested in, but I'm glad that he is. And then he's getting that time with my husband and they're learning a new skill together. They've had to research it online
Hmm.
and figure it out, but he's invested, he's involved now.
It's interesting you say that because 2 weeks ago I was in a panel of young people. I was just speaking to them because one of the things I do to identify and to see what really our young people think and what they're thinking and what they would like for us to know so we can parent them better is actually speak to them in a very safe environment where they tell us everything. And one of the things the young people said, these were teenagers up to, they were young people, and the youngest was about 13, and then the oldest was 21. And one of the things they kept saying is, because I asked the question, because it's something I'm going through as well with my teenager. I asked the question, so, what can we do for you to be involved with family instead of you sitting in your room all day long? What can we do? How can we? And obviously, they completely identify with that. You know what they told us? What they told me? All of them. And remember, these were young people from down and up and down the country. They said, "Don't just call us downstairs for nothing. Let whatever you're asking us to calm down and do be interesting. Don't just call me out of my room for me to get out of my, what am I coming there to do? I don't want to hang around with you. They want to do something interesting, right? So so I asked them examples. What would the examples be? Call me to come and cook something, a new recipe, something. They said such things. And that was, for me that was an aha moment, because I realized even my own self, I've been asking my daughter to calm down for, and she'll just refuse to calm down. And then later on she'd just ask, oh, there was nothing for me to come and do. And what she said was, She was just confirming what the other kids were saying. So now, what I started doing is when I go to knock on her door, I say to her the reason for which I'm asking her to calm down. And the thing is, it better be something that she wants to do. So I have to really think about it and even how I'm going to word it. For example, the other day, it was the weekend. I said to her, Dee, uh, I would like you to bake the cake, this particular cake, because you're the one that bakes it the best. None of us, none of us, of course, we can make cakes, but no one makes it quite like you. And believe it or not, she sprang out of that room, and you should have seen the life. You know, she's the, you know, she was made to feel important. She was made to feel needed. She was made to feel valued. And she came down and she said, you know, she put the pots out, and you would have thought she was a queen or something. But it's something I learned.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's something I learned from listening to those young people, because, and that's why I say to parents, sometimes we have to actually ask our young people, how can I do better? I want I want to parent you the best. How can I do better? And I remember the first time I suggested to parents to do that, they were like, why should we ask them how we are the parents, why should we ask them to how we should parent them? Then interestingly, most of those parents I was speaking to, they're business women. And I said to them, why do you do market research? Why do you listen to your customer so you can serve them better? Well, it happens that our children, our teenagers, are our customers. We are their parents. We are, so we, for us to serve them better, for us to parent them better, we need to know what they want. Of course, we have some input, just like a producer is the one that decides. I mean, so many things. There are things that they choose, but then you also listen to the customer to know, what do they really want, what do they really need. And they were like, oh my God, we never thought about it like that. And I said, yeah, we are parenting in a different era. It's not 50 years ago when we said do and they did. The kids now are questioning us. They're asking us, why do I have to do that? And we have to have rationale. We can't just click fingers and they do it. It's not the same. Yeah. So I'm so glad.
I agree.
I'm so glad about the examples that you've given with your kids, because I mean, most of the parents here, I'm sure they're going to be really helped by that. Yeah.
Well, and it's important how we phrase things and making them feel valuable, but also there's that other side where not everything we ask them to do is going to be 100% fun and exciting.
Yes.
Not everything is as fun as baking a cake.
Yes.
But I think if we can be intentional and we can create that culture where this is what we do as a family, then the less fun asks are a little bit easier. Because I do think we have a responsibility to prepare them for life. Absolutely. And not everything you have to do as an adult is fun and exciting. There are some things you have to do just because you have to do them. Yes. So like firewood is one that's a big deal where we live for about 6 months out of the year. And we buy firewood and stack it in the yard. And, you know, I'll go get it sometimes during the day, but I'll be honest, I don't like to do it at night. So sometimes I'll ask my kids to go out with me in the afternoon or to help me, or I'll say something like, hey, I'm fixing dinner. Would you please bring in some firewood?
Yeah.
I can tell we've got about a half an hour of daylight left. So if you want to go sooner, it'd probably be a little bit easier. But sometimes that's just part of what you have to do because you live in our house and you live with our family. And that is how we heat our house.
Running.
And so, yeah, and not everybody loves doing the dishes, but we have a schedule and it's part of what you do. There are things that I don't love about being an adult, but I have to do them.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
But then in that case, it's developing a right attitude to everything, right? For example, cleaning her bathroom is not something she particularly likes, but I have to say to her, this is your space, this is your space. Keep it in a way that I know you don't like it, and there's so many things I don't like doing, but for life to flow smoothly, that is your space. Let it be something to be proud of. You can clean after yourself every time you go, so that you avoid all the mess, or you can make such a mess, and then you have to clean the whole thing. So it's like, you can have a great attitude. You can help them have a great attitude towards things, and also sharing stories. Like, I don't particularly like washing dishes. I don't like it at all. And the first thing I did when I could was buy a dishwasher. But then obviously the dishwasher comes with emptying and loading and also cleaning the dishwasher. It needs that. So it's just developing that attitude of wanting to be part of a family that is flowing smoothly. Right. So Vicky, I am so excited about all the tips that you've given us. What we do here, and we like, and I know the parents are waiting for this. At the end of every session, I ask the guest, our valued guest, to give us 3 snippets or 3 strategies or 3 steps that they can practice as soon as this week to make changes in their family. Just 3 steps, 3 practical steps or tips, or whatever you want to call them.
One, I think, make the decision to do something different. If you're not already doing some of the things that we talked about, like creating the conversation time or eating, cooking together, make the decision to do that. But 2, for just for a couple minutes.
What happened there?
Sorry, are you back?
Yeah, it looks like we are back. We got disconnected.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm not sure. I just got an alert that you left it. It made me the host. It said you were gone, and it made me the host temporarily.
Oh. It just got disconnected.
Not very stable. Should we try to do the end part again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
You want me to try to do the top 3 again? I'll start from the beginning.
Sorry?
Okay.
Yeah, the top, the
And that way you'll have minimal editing.
Are you there?
I'll try that part again.
I don't know what's happening there.
All right. Okay, well, let's try it real quick. It sounds better now. Whatever's different, it sounds like you're back.
Is it different now? Can you see me?
All right. It's still recording.
Oh my God, I don't know what's happening. Can you see me?
Are you ready for me?
Yes, I can see you. I can hear you.
I know it's not ideal for you, but try turning off your video and maybe you get at least have the audio. You won't have the
podcast.
issue.
All right. Yeah,
Try
that's
it
fine.
that way.
That's fine. Are you okay now? This is something that doesn't happen. Are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
It just keeps kicking.
Cutting off.
It keeps kicking you out for some reason, yeah.
I don't
It
know.
keeps me on the call and it says that you're gone and it makes me the host, but I can't record, so.
Bless. I don't know what's happening because it shows
Yeah.
me I've got full range. I don't know. I would have to.
Should we just try to do it real quick?
Let me put the video
Maybe
off.
this last one will be magical and we'll get it in.
Shall we try and do just the sound? Oh, come on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm just checking the booster. I don't know why. I was just checking the booster. It looks. Can you hear me? Oh, come on. I don't understand this. I'm gonna have to contact these people. Can you hear me, Vicky?
Barely, yeah, you're kind of in and out.
Oh dear, I don't know what's happening. This is not good, is it?
Yeah, you're frozen. Well, I think if we can just get the audio of the end, we can edit it.
That's what, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
The rest of the interview.
Can you?
And no one would have to know.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we back?
Yeah, should we just go for it?
Yeah, I think let's go for this. I just don't know what's happening because. Okay. Anyway, let's do this. So Vicky, what 3 strategies or 3 snippets or just 3 practical tips can you give to our parents today to something that they can practice as soon as this week? Can you hear me?
The first thing I think I can't hear you at all.
You can't hear me at all. That's not very good.
I can't hear anything that you just said. I don't know if the recording is going to be usable or not. You're completely frozen.
Wow.
I think we need to try to finish without video, and then we'll have a shot at recording the audio.
Okay.
You understand what can you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you just turn your video off, then you might have enough bandwidth to record the audio. And we'll just have to edit it afterwards. I can help you with it if you need me to. Asking the question again, let me see if I can hear you. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay,
Go
let's
ahead and ask me that last question. We'll try to wrap up.
right. Yeah. So Vicky, what three snippets, three strategies can you give our parents today so they can practice this as soon as today? Just three snippets.
First one would be do something intentional, whether it's starting to cook and eat together or taking a drive together and getting more of that parallel windshield time. Do something intentional.
Right.
Related to that, number two would be phrase it in a way that you are being intentional about making it an invitation where your child feels valued and not obligated. So if you're, especially if you're starting something new, but for you, be super intentional on how you phrase things, how you ask, just being polite instead of barking orders.
All right.
And then the third one, we'll go back to that being intentional about your unique child's personality. So whether you have one child or you have more than one, it doesn't matter. Think about what he or she would most enjoy, would most like, most needs. Do they want to do something fun? Do they want to do something quiet? Do they want to do something where they get to talk a lot? Do they want to do something where they can, you know, listen to music? What is it that they want to do or that they need that they would really enjoy? Because it might be the video game example like I did, and it might be cooking, or it might be something totally different that we didn't talk about. But think about your unique children. If you have more than one, do it for each one separately.
Wow. That's so good. So what I heard you say is that do something different today, right? Start something different. And then you said about be intentional about how you speak with them, how you word your words, or how you craft, how you say your words instead of barking orders. And then also what I heard you say is think about the uniqueness of your young person and treat them as such. So those are beautiful snippets. Now, Vicky, we always want our parents to be able to reach you if they've got any questions. And I think they're gonna be wanting to ask you a lot of questions. And they would like, even I would like to know where to grab a hold of you and where I can reach you. So how can we do that?
Sure, you can find me online at vickymusney.com. As far as social media goes, I am the only Vicky Musney. And so if you see that on any platform, it's me. So it's Vickie, last name Musni. On Facebook, I'm a little more particular about who I let as a friend. But if you send me a message, I will gladly respond. And I also have a public Facebook page, which you're welcome to follow and like. I share more about personalities and things like that than I do about, you know, my own kids and what they're cooking for dinner and stuff. But that is Facebook /speaker Vicky Musney. But again, the trick is just spelling my name the way I do. And you can find me vickymusney.com, or just do a Google search, or on Amazon. You can find my books. Yeah, whatever platform you're on.
Oh, there you go, guys. There you go. You can find Vicky at vickymusney.com. And obviously, you can find her on Facebook. Just search her out. And if you want anything to do with personality tests and that kind of thing, actually, you just, especially you, all of us who are parents of teenagers, we also think we need to think about who we are and our personalities. That I'm sure is something that Vicky can help you do. And I am so excited. And sorry guys, the last bit, the last video didn't come up, but it's all good. You got to see Vicky when we started, and you got to see me when we started. So we are so grateful that you've hung out with us. And it's such a shame, Vicky, I can't see your face now because we are off, but it's all good. We will get to meet another time. I am so glad. Thank you, everyone. And from all of us here at Raising Remarkable Teenagers, We wish you all the best. And as we always say, please practice the snippets, the strategies that we have talked about, because it's in practicing that we learn these skills and they become part of us. And we are then consequently able to raise highly effective teenagers, which is really the goal of us here and you guys as well. Our goal, without a doubt, all of us, is to raise remarkable teenagers, to raise remarkable kids. So, from all of us today, we thank you so much, and bye bye for now, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye bye, Vicky.
Thank you.
It's so. We'll speak to you later, Vicky.
Let's try it again now. Let's try it again now that we got the official ending, and then if we get cut off, it's okay. Do you have an editor? Do you need help with that part?
Shall I end this? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The whole thing has become blur as well.
Do you have someone that can help you with the editing those last two clips together, or do you need help with that?
Maybe we might need help, because my assistant, I don't know, she might know someone, but I'm not sure. What I can do, if you're able to do it, I can send them to you, and then maybe you can put it together. But I'll ask Lisa as well if she knows how to do it, because we've never had this problem. We've just had a run through, and I don't know what has happened today.